Alright, welcome to this video. This is a short video on how to deploy a multi-tier web application using AWS. So we'll be deploying this application you are seeing on my screen on an EC2 instance and having the database run on RDS. So that way you can see clearly how to deploy a web application. So this is just a logistics company where you can track your packages online. So see them for easy packing and delivery worldwide. So in this case, I have this running on my local server, which is a development or testing environment, as the case may be. And when I click on tracking, so I can pretty much say, well, I have a tracking number 101231 and entered my email, and I get the status of a particular package. So this is loading to display the package. So tracking 101 details for blah blah blah. So here we can see the tracking number, the date of delivery, the packages in transit. I can see the tracking history. The product has moved from this point to this point. If I need more information about the package, the sender is one Ugo Goli, and that's about it. Now the structure of this application, I currently have it on my GitHub repo. So if you want to follow my steps, you can just go to github.com/luabikoe/worldkorea. It's public, so you don't have a problem downloading this project. These are all the pages of the website pretty much, and there's a script here called connect.php. The connect.php just has the connection string. So this is what will most likely be changing when we go to the live server, to ensure that the script has exactly the right database connectivity. So that's it. So like I said earlier, is a multi-tier. So we'll have the presentation and the logic will be on an EC2 instance, and the database would run on RDS. Yes, within the same repo, I also have a file called sqlscripts.txt. Alright, so this is the SQL dump file. Clearly, we'll be needing this once we deploy our database. So let's move quickly to the project. So the first thing is to create the RDS. So let's have the database ready. Then we'll now deploy our application to connect to the database as it were. So back to my RDS environment on AWS. So I just type RDS and I click on databases. So I have this database already running. That was the database that was created, so you can choose to create a new one. And just like I told you, the endpoint is available, and you can just connect to it, and all you need to do is to run that SQL script in this. Oh no, sorry. Alright, in order to get started, you come to RDS on your search bar. You click on RDS. I am currently there, so I go to databases. I'm currently deleting a database, so you are creating a new one, and the name of this new database is World Korea. So I'll choose my SQL 5.7 because the database engine that runs the application at the moment is MySQL 5. I choose free tier. This is for us to not incur cost, so I ignore the availability zone. But what this does is to ensure that your application has read replica or has a standby failover database. But in order not to incur costs, we'll be working with the simple with the free tier version of the AWS. So I just call this wall_db. I set a password for my admin. I can just say the database admin is wall, the username rather is wall_db. Sorry, we can't use underscore for a db instance identifier. So here I set a password. Aledoy 101. Aledoy 101. So I go straight down. So my database is wall_db. My password is Aledoy 101. And I leave the default options. This will just save me the trouble of incurring cost. I come down, make my database public. This I want to be able to access from an external space. Now I can use a default VPS, but I have an existing security group. This gives me access to connect to the database. For you to be able to follow up on how to create RDS and understand what security groups are, you can watch any of my previous AWS video. But this security group is where you have to enable inbound rules for your enable inbound rules to give access to your database. Now you in those inbound rules will be allowing ports 3306, and that's my SQL database port number. So under the additional configuration, this is just to ascertain that this is selected. I scroll down, there's still additional configuration here. This is where I'll set my initial database name, which in this case we want to use wall_db. I'm just returning the same name with the username. And once this is done, I create database. Selecting is required. Okay, so I think that's compulsory for that particular type of instance and that particular type of RDS server. So this will create the instance. I'll just pause the video for a bit. Ignore this message because this would incur cost. Elastic Cache is a feature that allows your database to have another layer of caching, where as people try to query your database for queries that have been sent before, there's a cache that stores them, which means that once you send those type of query, it returns them from the cache, which reduces the workload on the actual database and increases performance of your database entirely. This is just for faster throughput, but for now we don't need it. So I'll just refresh this and wait for our database to be ready, then we'll take it up from there. So I'll just pause for a bit. Alright, so you see that the database has been successfully created, and I can view the connection details here. So this is the endpoint for my DB, this is the username and the password. So I just go back to my SQL Electron, which is my SQL client. You can always download this. Yeah, you can always download it, just Google SQL Electron. So I want to add a new connection database, so I call this WorldDB. I add the endpoint, which is my endpoint. I select the database type, my SQL. The username is wall_db. The password is Aledoy 101, and the database is the same. So I test my connection to be sure. So my connection is successful, meaning that I have access to the database, the RDS database engine from here. So I just go straight at it and connect to it. Voila. So I'm in my database now. I come to my, so you go to the Git repo, you copy this script. So you can just copy everything here and run it. Yeah, so the query is successfully, this is just me importing the database schema into my database. use wall underscore db. If you're familiar with SQL, I'm sure the queries that I'm typing would not be new. And while we're here, I can while I'm here, I can show tables. I just want to see the tables in my database. So I have two tables here, user and details. So that's just pretty much the two tables that I have in my database. With this, I have successfully created a connection to I've successfully created a database, and now I want to update my connection string with my database endpoint. So I come to the connect, and that is what I'll be updating here. So I'll just update this with the database details. Where's my RDS? So let me view this again. Yep. So please note I am editing the connection string. So this is the endpoint, this is the wall underscore db database name, this is the database username, this is the database, this is the password. So I would commit the changes to my script, which means that I have updated my Git repo with the correct database connection, and all I need to do is to deploy this application on my EC2 instance and test it. Alright, so here I quickly go to my EC2. Alright, so I launch a new instance. I'll name the instance wall Korea app. I choose Ubuntu because I want to stick to the free tier image. So I'm just waiting for it to load. So I'll stick to server 22. I leave the instance type as free tier. I'll create a key pair. Wall, call it wall app key. Wall app key. Let me so I maintain my security group. I want it to have to allow HTTP because I want to access it from the internet, and I leave every other thing pretty much as default, and I launch instance. Alright, so I just view my instance so that I can get the details of the instance IP. So this is the running instance, this is the IP address, I go straight to my terminal. So while I'm in the same directory where the key I downloaded is, so I just change the permission of the key to wall. Now I connect using the key SSH Ubuntu. So I need the key. Now connecting to instances using AWS requires that you have access to this key. You can learn more if you haven't really done this. You can watch a video on my page, Learn AWS with Lou. There you can see all the step-by-step approach on setting up an instance and understanding how this key and security details work. So here I'm in my instance, so the first thing I do is to clear my screen. I'll be zooming in a bit. So once you're logged in to the server, the first thing you do is to sudo apt update. So just update your Ubuntu server packages. Take a bit of time, but yep, so that's done. And the next thing is to install Apache web server. Using AWS, your security group and everything should be working fine. In order for us to be sure that the web service has been installed successfully, I just type the URL, the IP address on my browser. So once you're seeing this, it means that you've successfully installed Apache on your instance, on your server. Alright, so the next thing here for us is to install, PHP. We usually would have installed SQL and everything here if we wanted to run a monolithic approach of the application, but because we want to install them separately, so I'll just copy this command, which is to install PHP, install the library and the module that would enable PHP to work with MySQL. So just run this command. It tells me it's about to run PHP 8. Alright, the installation is complete. In order for me to confirm that this works fine, I type php-b, which is PHP version. This way I can see the PHP version that has been installed. There's one more thing I need to install, which is sudo install wget. If my OS doesn't have wget before now, it will do that. Now what do I need wget for? It's just for me to be able to download the website from my repo. So I come to this repo, I try to get the location of the code, the zip file. I just right click, copy address. This gives me access to the zip file. So I'm not copying notes, I'm not copying this URL, I'm copying the URL of the zip file. So what I'll do with that is to come back here and type wget and I paste that URL here. So what this does, it downloads the project into my repo, which is main.zip, and I would unzip it, unzip main.zip. Okay, so I don't have unzip installed, so I need to install that package. Usually when you want to work with most packages in AWS, you have to install those packages. So I can go back to unzip. So this helps me unzip the entire project. I click on ls again. Ls is to list the project, so I can see that the project is inside this folder called WildKorea-main. So let me just say let me cd into it first. WildKorea-main. So I can list the files inside. So I'm setting that my website file are inside this project. So I go back one step, which is back to my, so I want to copy all the content of this file to my Apache server. So while I installed Apache, there's a folder where my website files should be, which is inside, normally to be here. Let me check, let me list the folder. It will be in this location, www/html. So this is me checking this URL to see that I have a file there, index.html. I want to delete that file because I won't be needing it, so I'll say sudo rm, because I'll be having another index file coming in there. So if I go back and list that, there's nothing like that there. Now the next thing is to copy the content of this while korea-main, that's this folder we're looking at here, into this www folder. So I would use cp with r is to say I'm copying everything recursive. So I'm copying everything into var www/html. Oh, needed to, sorry, I don't have permission to do that. I needed to use sudo before the copy. So with this, I've been able to copy the project into this folder. So if I go and check by listing everything inside the folder, ls is a command to list directory. I can see everything is inside my HTML folder. Now if I come back to this URL and refresh, voila, I have the website loaded, which is my Korea website. I can click on packages. I can decide to track a package based on the command that I have, and the pages, don't worry about the aesthetic of the page. The page just didn't load well, but this is to tell you that you can't find any package of this sort. So let us see how to add package. So there's a page here that you can use to add a package to the system. Okay, so I'll open the admin on a different tab. So there's a page called control.php. This is just for us to be able to impute some form of tracking details. So let's say I have a tracking number 1 2 3 4 5 4 3 2 1, and the name on package should be Ugoli. Put the email address ugo@yahoo.com. Put the phone number 234, whatever number from the package is coming from Lagos. From Lagos to United Kingdom. You know, pretty much specify the actual address. Let's say 101 Brandon Street, London. Package is coming from Lagos. So expected date of delivery, let's say 23rd. Current expected time 8 a.m. Delivery date, you know, pretty much just some random information here. So the current location is it's at UPS office in Abuja, Nigeria. I'm just saying the status is in transit. Let me just browse an image on my system that would represent this package, as it were, and I register. Okay, so these are just some errors that are not necessary at this point. So if I choose to track this package where I have set it 1 2 3 4 5 4 3 2 1, you know, put the email address, and I can track. Good. So this just gives us details of the tracking package, the history, you know, this is where it currently is, you know, and what have you. Okay, so in this case, if I choose to, let's say, come back to this page, the way it works is to say, well, I want to update this particular tracking. At this time, I want the package to be in, let's say, Germany, or customs at Heathrow. I hope I'm spelling that correctly. At Heathrow. Then still let's say transit. Let's just say transit. I register this again, and if I come back to the same package, yeah, I'm able to see the different stages. At the moment is in customs at Heathrow. Alright, pretty much that's it. This is a simple two-tier web application using EC2 and AWS RDS as the database. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll pretty much like you subscribe to our YouTube channel as Learn AWS with Lou, and I hope you get more videos as we move on. Thank you.